Welcome. Let me pose a question. Have you ever found yourself in a still room, listening to the quiet hum of the refrigerator, and asked, "Is this it?" Have you felt that subtle, hollow sensation when you watch a family next door gather for a celebration, while your own home remains silent? For countless individuals in their later years, that quiet can feel weighty. It can feel immense. And I want you to understand it's more than a passing sadness. Leading medical research from esteemed publications like The Lancet reveals that persistent social isolation can affect your physical well-being as severely as obesity or smoking. It can influence your cardiac health. It can disturb your rest. It can even begin to obscure your recall. But today, speaking as a clinician who has listened to thousands of patients, I want to share a profound truth I've witnessed over the years. There's a monumental, life-altering distinction between being by yourself and feeling desolate. And I am convinced that mastering the art of enjoying your own presence on your own terms is the most potent key to discovering serenity, liberty, and enduring wellness in this chapter. This is an abstract. I'll always remember my patient, Lawrence. His partner was gone, and his family lived hours away. The initial visit, he gazed at the floor and murmured, "I feel like a ghost." He confessed he remained in his armchair from morning till night, the television a constant flicker, simply waiting for a call. Half a year later, I met with him again, a transformed individual. He held his head high, met my gaze, and stated, "My schedule is fuller than it's ever been, and my heart is lighter than I remember." And the key? He still resided alone. Lawrence's solution wasn't about desperately seeking new acquaintances. His secret was unlocking 6 psychologically grounded methods to transform that hollow feeling into what we term intentional companionship with oneself. In this presentation, I am going to share those precise 6 approaches with you. These are not hazy notions. These are straightforward, actionable, and cost-free steps you can begin applying this very day. And I urge you to stay until approach number 6. It's the one Lawrence credited with shifting everything for him. A gentle way to re-engage with life without the pressure of crowded social events or strained small talk. Before we begin, I genuinely wish to know how many of you have encountered this. If my words resonate, please type a simple "me" in the comments. It shows me you connect, and it shows others they have company. All right, let's commence. All right, let's explore our list. Number 1. Reframe solitude as a sanctuary. So many of us, we're unnerved by the stillness, aren't we? Since childhood, we've been conditioned to believe fulfillment means a bustling social life, a house full of voices, a table surrounded by loved ones. The sound of chatter, it's a beautiful thing. But because of this, when we find ourselves in a tranquil space, perhaps after a career is concluded or a household has grown quiet, that silence can feel incorrect. It can feel barren. It can feel like we've been forgotten or that we've somehow fallen short. That quiet feels like an emblem of isolation. But from my clinical perspective, I see this differently. For 40, 50, or even 60 years, your mind was in a perpetual state of response, reacting to a child's needs, reacting to a superior's request, reacting to a partner's schedule, reacting to the demands of the day. Your mind rarely received the true opportunity to simply exist. It was perpetually switched on. Psychologists discuss the necessity for our psyches to digest our experiences, to sort our memories, to find coherence in our personal narrative. Without calm, we cannot accomplish this. We merely pile one event upon another, year after year, until we feel swamped and uneasy without a clear cause. This is why the sensation of emptiness can strike so powerfully after 60. It isn't a flaw. It's a lifetime of habit. You spent a half-century being the nurturer, the breadwinner, the fixer, and you were exceptional at it. But in that process, many of us, we lost touch with who we are when we aren't performing a role for another. Now, suddenly, you possess this remarkable offering. It's the offering of time, but it feels like a weight because no one ever instructed us how to simply coexist with ourselves. This is where that symptom of unease emerges. Does this sound familiar? You settle with a novel, and your thoughts begin to race. I should be organizing, or I should be running an errand, or I ought to phone someone. Or you find yourself switching on the radio not for a specific program, but merely for the background noise, just to occupy the space. That constant, agitated feeling, that tension in the quiet, that is a symptom. There's compelling science here. Your brain possesses something termed the default network. It's a region of your brain that only genuinely engages when you are not concentrated on an external task, when you are resting calmly, reflecting, or simply be with your own inner world. This network is vital for solidifying your memories, for working through your feelings, and for cultivating your deep sense of identity. When we incessantly fill the void with sound, we are depriving this essential part of our brain. This is why individuals who learn to welcome solitude often describe feeling more inventive, more centered, and possessing a clearer, more focused mind. They are, in a literal sense, restoring their own brains. I recall a patient of mine, Eleanor, a gracious woman, a retired librarian. She came to me feeling, as she expressed it, in a fog. She told me she felt a sense of shame. I inquired why. She said she felt ashamed because she would sit with a poetry book at 10 in the morning and felt she was being unproductive. We discussed this concept of her time. Now she refers to 10 a.m. as her golden hour. She prepares a cup of herbal tea. She plays some soft instrumental music, and she reads. She told me, with emotion in her voice, "Doctor, for the first time in 45 years, I am not rushing for a soul." She discovered her calm not by saturating her life with more commotion, but by welcoming the stillness. So, here is my recommendation for you. I want you to pause. Cease automatically grasping for the power button. Cease feeling guilty for not being occupied. The next instant you sense that nervous quiet, simply sit with it for a single minute. Merely breathe. Then I want you to pose a question you likely haven't asked in decades. What would truly bring me contentment at this moment? Perhaps it's retrieving that old sketch pad. Perhaps it's finally organizing those vintage photographs. Perhaps it's merely resting by the window and observing the clouds. Select one, just one, of those former interests you never had leisure for. And let's be perfectly clear about one thing. This is not about becoming a recluse. It is not about repelling people. This is not self-centered. It is quite simply replenishment. It's about filling your own vessel so that when you are with loved ones, you are engaged and calm, not operating on fumes. Number 2, establish significance through daily ceremonies. This follows directly from the first point. When you retire or when you live by yourself, the former framework of your life, it simply dissolves. The morning alarm for the office, the daily travel, the evening ritual of preparing a family meal. And what remains? The days can meld into one another. Tuesday resembles Thursday, which feels identical to Sunday. This absence of rhythm is disorienting. It can make you feel untethered, like a leaf on a stream. And that is a direct route to feeling dispirited, unsettled, and adrift. This is where ceremonies become vital. Now, when I say ceremony, I'm not referring to anything elaborate or esoteric. I'm speaking of small, deliberate, repeated practices. From a psychological viewpoint, these ceremonies are moorings. They are moorings for your day, and they are moorings for your spirit. They transmit a powerful subconscious message to your brain that states, there is stability. There is a small, positive event to anticipate. They are, in essence, a deep form of self-regard. They are a pledge you maintain to yourself, and upholding pledges, even to yourself, builds self-esteem. Why is this so critically important now? Because all your previous ceremonies were likely constructed around others, preparing lunches with family, attending school events, the Saturday morning market trip with your partner, the monthly community meeting. Those external frameworks have faded, and that's acceptable. But you must, and I emphasize must, forge new internal structures that are solely for you. This is how you reclaim your hours. This is how you impart form to your days that feel supportive and rewarding. If you discover yourself rising and remaining in your night clothes until midday, or perhaps losing track of the date, or sensing a persistent, low-level question of what is the purpose, that is the symptom. That is the symptom of an existence without moorings. It's that sensation of simply drifting. Ceremonies are the remedy for drifting. The research on this is compelling. Investigations into positive psychology and aging demonstrate that older adults who uphold simple, consistent daily ceremonies report markedly greater levels of life contentment, and reduced instances of low mood. Why? Because these ceremonies prompt the release of feel-good neurotransmitters like serotonin in a modest, predictable manner. When you anticipate that first cup of tea, steeped just as you prefer, that expectation is serotonin. When you complete your small ceremony, you receive a tiny personal sense of achievement. It's a victory. And these minor victories accumulate day after day, constructing a sturdy foundation of satisfaction. I think of my patient, Walter, an insightful man, a former architect. He was utterly disoriented after his retirement. His entire life had been about plans, timelines, and solutions. He informed me he felt redundant, so we conversed. We didn't attempt to resolve global issues. We simply provided him with a new, straightforward structure. Now, each and every morning, he selects a specific blend of loose-leaf tea. He calls it crafting the perfect cup. He sits and completes the daily Sudoku puzzle. And then he tends to the small patch of herbs on his windowsill. He told me, "Doctor, it's basic." I know it's basic, but it gives me a motive to rise. It's my ritual. So, let's construct your ceremony. Begin modestly. I mean, exceptionally modest. Do not attempt to overhaul your entire existence overnight. Perhaps it's just this. The moment you awaken, before you even sit up, you state one thing you look forward to the day. That's it. That's your ceremony. Or maybe you decide that every Wednesday you will listen to a full album of music from your youth, not just background noise, but truly listening. Or perhaps, like Walter, it's tending to a plant. Or maybe it's an afternoon ceremony, 5 minutes of mindful breathing, or writing one sentence in diary. It is irrelevant what it is. The sole criteria are that it must be for you and it must be deliberate. This isn't a duty. This is an observance. It's you affirming to yourself, I am worthy of this attention. I'm interested. Do you already have a ceremony that commences your day? If you do, share it with us. Please comment my anchor below. You never know. Your simple practice might be the very one that sparks inspiration for another person here today. Number 3, cultivate a curious mind. There exists a pernicious, widespread misconception in our culture, a fallacy that learning is reserved for the young, that you attend school, you build a profession, and then you cease, you retire, and your intellect, well, it retires as well. Many people I speak with, they are almost apprehensive. They are apprehensive of digital devices, wary of the tablet or the smartphone. They feel their cognitive sharpness has diminished. So why make the effort? As your clinician, I'm informing you that this is one of the most hazardous and incorrect beliefs an older adult can harbor. Here is the biological reality. Your brain is not a fixed, inert object. It is a vibrant, living, adaptable organ. We have a marvelous term for it in medicine, neurogenesis. It signifies that your brain can and does generate new neural pathways and adapt right up until your final breath. That old adage, a mind that is stretched never returns to its old dimensions. Well, it is the absolute 100% medical truth. When you acquire new knowledge, whether to chord on a keyboard or the history of a local landmark, you're literally forging a new connection in your brain. You are rendering it more robust, more pliable, and more resilient. And here is the exquisite part. When you were younger, you learned for an objective, to achieve a grade, to secure a position, to assist your children with their projects. Now you get to learn for the most pristine, most wonderful reason of all, fascination. Pure, simple wonder. This isn't about obtaining a diploma or earning a credential. It's about nourishing your intellect. When you halt learning, your universe begins to contract. It grows smaller and more confined. But when you persist in learning, your universe and your mind continue to broaden. If you feel mentally sluggish or you find yourself uninterested or you feel the world is evolving beyond your comprehension, that is a symptom. It's a symptom of a mind that is undernourished. It's requesting a stimulus. It's requesting novelty. The proof for this is incontrovertible. Significant longitudinal studies on aging and cognitive health from institutions like Stanford and the National Institutes of Health all indicate the same conclusion. Seniors who participate in regular mentally engaging pursuits, it is immaterial what. It could be mastering a musical instrument, engaging in strategic games, studying philosophy, even learning to utilize a digital device to browse art museums online. They possess substantially lowered risk of cognitive deterioration and memory impairment. It is genuinely like performing calisthenics for your brain. You are proactively safeguarding your memory for the future. Let me share about Patricia, 74 years young. She told me she had perpetually been fascinated by astronomy. Her entire life, she was occupied with building a home and a career. So what did she do? She visited her local public library and borrowed a single volume on the constellations. Then a friend demonstrated a planetarium application. Now she sits in her garden in the evening and identifies planets and stars. She is a neighborhood authority on the night sky. She told me, "Doctor, I feel more alert and more engaged with the universe now than I did 2 decades ago." She wasn't merely learning about space. She was constructing a new, more wondrous, and more assured version of herself. So, I want you to be like Patricia. Choose one. Just one subject that has always piqued your curiosity. Just one. You need not enroll in a formal class. Utilize the internet. It is a portal to global knowledge, and it is accessible from your home. Watch a lecture on art history. Listen to a podcast about oceanography. Learn to identify 5 local trees. Attempt a jigsaw puzzle. It's simple, yet it is profoundly powerful. This isn't about strain. It's about discovery. If you experiment with something and it doesn't resonate, discontinue it. Try an alternative. The objective is simply to be inquisitive once more. To be a student of life from the comfort of your own favorite chair. That is rather extraordinary, isn't it? The capacity of your own mind. If you're even slightly amazed or motivated by what your intellect is still capable of, let me know. Comment astounding below. Number 4. Seek solace in the natural world and gentle activity. When we pass considerable time in solitude, particularly if we're experiencing low spirits, it is exceedingly simple to become fused with the sofa, that plush, inviting piece of furniture. It can feel like a refuge, but it can also transform into a confinement. You sit, and before you realize it, the entire day has elapsed. Your body becomes rigid. Your limbs feel sore, and your disposition simply plummets. It's a destructive loop. You feel sore, so you are reluctant to move. And because you don't move, you feel even sorer. It's a snare I've observed countless patients encounter. This is a straightforward biological fact. Your body, my body, every human body was engineered for motion. When you move, even with gentleness, your body discharges a wonderful natural blend of substances termed endorphins. These are your body's innate pain-relieving agents, and just as crucially, your body's innate mood-lifting agents. Concurrently, venturing outdoors, merely stepping onto patio or the stoop, exposes you to sunlight. That sunlight contacts your skin and instructs your body to generate vitamin D, which is utterly indispensable for skeletal health and, once more, for stabilizing your mood. The outdoor air itself, it alters your brain chemistry. It is an almost immediate mood enhancer, and it is entirely without cost. Now listen to me carefully. This is significant. When I say activity, I am not referring to running a race. I am not referring to strenuous calisthenics or attending a noisy, intimidating fitness center. For many of us over 65, the gym is the last place we desire to be. And frankly, it is non-essential. We are not training for a competition. We are simply living. And for that, we require mild, consistent motion. Merely strolling, merely extending your limbs, merely bending to feed a bird. It is sufficient. It stimulates circulation. It nourishes the joints. Yes, even those tender ones, and it clarifies the thoughts. If you rise feeling rigid, or if you sense that listless feeling, that mild despondency that seems to accompany you, or if you simply feel detached from your physical self, that's the symptom your body is gently requesting. Shall we move? The science is irrefutable. Research consistently confirms that gentle, regular movement like Tai Chi or walking is among the most efficient interventions for mild to moderate low mood at any age. And for seniors, the bond with the natural environment is profound. They even have a designation for it: green therapy. Being in, or even merely viewing, a natural environment, a garden, a tree from your kitchen window, a simple vase of fresh flowers, it tangibly reduces your blood pressure. It diminishes your body's primary stress chemical, cortisol. Nature becomes a consoling presence. It's a faithful, tranquil presence that demands nothing from you. It merely provides. I had a patient, Bernard, a kind man, but he was in a difficult place. He had sore hips, genuinely sore, and he was simply disheartened. He'd lost a sibling, and he just remained indoors. I did not instruct him to jog. I did not even instruct him to take a walk. My prescription was this: Bernard, I want you to stand at your back door for 10 minutes each afternoon. That's all. Simply stand. Well, he complied, and after a week, he told me he began to notice the pattern of the clouds. Then he decided to place a bird feeder outside the door. He started filling it. Then he started walking to the end of his driveway and back. Now he strolls to the nearby park bench and sits for a while. He told me, those clouds are my little finches. They're my quiet companions. They were there all along. So, let's be like Bernard. Make nature your ally. You need not traverse a forest. Simply open the door, feel the breeze. If you are able, sit on your back step, walk to the curb and return, leisurely. Observe the quality of the light. If you have a windowsill, obtain a pot and cultivate one single herb, like basil. Nurture it. Observe it thrive. It will furnish you with a rationale to stand and to step outside. Here is your undertaking for tomorrow. Merely step outdoors, stand still, and take 3. Just 3 conscious breaths of fresh air. That is your commencement. Are you aligned with me on this? If you pledge to obtain just 3 minutes of outdoor air tomorrow, just 3, let me know. Comment renew below. It's a pledge to yourself. Number 5, adopt an attitude of thankfulness and compassionate inner dialogue. This one is profoundly significant. When you spend extensive periods in your own company, your thoughts, well, they become your most intimate companions. They are the most audible voice in the room. And for so many of us, that voice is not particularly charitable. It's an internal judge. It's the voice that states, you're not contributing. No one remembers you. You are a problem. You could have done more. It's a voice of remorse. We would never, ever speak to another human being, not even an acquaintance, the manner in which we occasionally address ourselves. And that incessant negative monologue, it is a toxin. It is the authentic source of the feeling of desolation. There's a rationale for why our brains engage in this. It's entitled the negativity bias. It's an ancient primal survival tool. Your brain is configured to seek potential dangers, to scan for what is amiss. It assisted our forebears in surviving in a hazardous world. But now, when the primary danger is merely a silent house, the brain becomes confused. So it turns its focus inward. It begins to perceive you as the issue. Thankfulness and compassionate inner dialogue. These are not whimsical or trivial notions. They are clinical implements. They are the antidote to the negativity bias. They actively, manually recircuit your brain to scan for what is positive and present. As we advance in years, it is exceedingly simple to concentrate on what we have relinquished. We've relinquished our vitality, our professional roles. Perhaps we've relinquished cherished companions or a loved one. The lost column can feel exceedingly lengthy. If that is your sole focus, naturally you will feel sorrowful. Naturally you will. Thankfulness is a conscious, brave act of focusing on what you still retain. And compassionate inner dialogue is the act of becoming your own most supportive companion precisely when you require one the most. If you discover yourself persistently dwelling, that's the term for it, just revolving past disappointments in your mind repeatedly. Or if you feel that descending sensation of why bother, or you catch yourself thinking, I am just an encumbrance, that is the symptom. That is your internal judge commanding the helm. The science is remarkable. Dr. Martin Seligman, a pioneering researcher in this domain, demonstrated that practicing thankfulness, simply noting a few elements for which you are appreciative, can tangibly elevate your happiness, alleviate feelings of depression, and even fortify your immune response. It is not mystical, it is physiology. It shifts your focus, and your brain chemistry conforms. And compassionate self-dialogue? It pacifies the alarm center of your brain, the amygdala. It literally soothes you from the interior. I recall my patient, Clara. She was persuaded, utterly persuaded she was an inconvenience to her niece. She would apologize incessantly. I'm sorry to trouble you. I'm sorry I require assistance. I provided her with assignment. I said, Clara, I want you to acquire a lovely, small notepad. And every evening before you retire, I want you to inscribe one, just one, pleasant occurrence from that day. She later informed me she struggled initially. She was so unaccustomed to the practice. Her first entry was merely, the toast was perfectly crisp. That was all she could identify. But she persisted. A kind email from an old colleague. The rain sounded peaceful on the roof. I remembered a lovely song. After a month, she returned to my office and she opened that notepad. It was filled. She looked at me and stated, Doctor, I see now that my life is still composed of many small good things. So tonight, let's be like Clara. Acquire a note card. Utilize that beautiful notepad. Inscribe one good thing. And the next instance, the very next instance you detect that negative internal voice, I want you to interrupt it. Merely interrupt it and inquire of yourself, would I speak this way to my most treasured friend? And if the response is negative, then you are not permitted to speak it to yourself. This is not, I reiterate, about disregarding your pain or feigning happiness when you are sorrowful. That is not salubrious. If you are sorrowful, you are permitted to be sorrowful. Your emotions are valid. This is about equilibrium. It's about electing not to permit that sorrow or that internal judge to be the exclusive voice you hear. Number 6, discover new avenues for gentle contribution. This returns us to that initial core sensation. I don't have a local community. I don't know how to encounter people. I'm not a social butterfly. This feeling of being entirely detached from the communal fabric. It feels as though everyone else is engaged and you are observing from the periphery. It's an intensely painful sensation, and it's the one my patient Lawrence grappled with most intensely. As human beings, we are inherently social. We are wired for bonding. But here is the secret, a secret that required me years of practice to fully comprehend. Bonding does not have to signify a large gathering. It does not have to signify possessing a dozen confidants you see weekly. Bonding, the sensation we yearn for, originates from two straightforward elements: feeling that you are a component of a larger whole, and feeling that you have something to offer. That is it, part of something and of value. This is the final, crucial component of the puzzle. In your previous life, you possess these bonds integrated automatically. You were a member of a department at your workplace. You were a member of a household unit nurturing children. You were of value every single day. Now those capacities have receded, and that is a profound, genuine loss. Therefore, we must uncover new methods to feel connected and of value. And these new methods are frequently more subdued. They are more intention-driven. This isn't about acquiring friends. It's about uncovering significance. When you uncover significance, camaraderie is frequently a delightful byproduct. If you feel truly detached and you feel you have nothing to contribute, that is the symptom. It's an indication that you are prepared not for festivity, but for a mission. The psychological evidence on this is unequivocal. Of all pursuits an individual can undertake, contributing one's time is the single most rapid, most dependable method to elevate your personal happiness and sense of purpose. When you offer assistance, when you aid another, your brain is inundated with all the optimal neurochemicals. It furnishes you with a rationale to arise. It furnishes you with a location to be. It instantaneously renders you valuable and part collective. And that brings me directly back to my patient, Lawrence, the man in the armchair, the man who felt like a ghost. This was his secret. This was approach number 6. Can you surmise what he did? He did not join a bustling social club. He did not visit the community hall for card games. He began contributing his time, just 90 minutes, once a week, at a nearby nature preserve. He sits at a quiet station and assists in cleaning and preparing seeds for their bird feeding program. He utilizes small tools and packets. He told me, "Doctor, I don't converse a great deal with the others, but I understand that this task I'm performing is helping sustain a little creature through the winter. I feel purposeful again." He discovered his mission in the tranquility. So, I want you to contemplate, where can you be of gentle service? Disregard acquiring friends. Seek significance. Could you volunteer at an animal shelter? Simply sitting quietly with a cat? Could you assist a local place of worship with their newsletter mailings? Could you write encouraging letters to service members or isolated seniors? Could you, like Lawrence, assist with conservation effort? Even merely telephoning a distant cousin who you know is also solitary just once a fortnight. That is a mission. Locate one modest method to contribute this week. I comprehend this can feel daunting. I know the initial step is the most challenging, but you are not signing a perpetual vow. You are merely experimenting. If it does not suit you, you can experiment with an alternative. The aim is to merely open the portal, just an inch, and permit the world to re-enter on your own conditions. And so, as we conclude our time together today, I want to return to my patient Lawrence, the man who sat in his armchair feeling like a ghost. Today, Lawrence still resides alone. His residence is still tranquil, but he is no longer desolate. He is a stargazer. He is a seed preparer at the local nature center. He is a man who recognizes the shifting seasons in his own garden. He is, as he informs me with gentle grin, occupied with living my life by my own design. As you can observe from Lawrence's path and from these 6 approaches, contentment when you are by yourself, it isn't something that merely occurs to you. It is not sorcery. It is a decision you can make each and every day. More than that, it is a custom. It is a proficiency. It is analogous to a muscle. The more you exercise it, the more resilient it becomes. Please, if you carry nothing else from today, remember this. Your significance, your merit as a person, is not quantified by the quantity of your social circle or how many event invitations you receive. Your authentic worth is quantified by the serenity, the intention, and the compassion that you cultivate right within your own being. We have investigated 6 potent approaches today. But as your clinician, I understand that knowledge is solely potent when we implement it. Awareness does not transform a life. Implementation does. So now I have one significant inquiry for you. What is the one minor pledge you are making to yourself, for yourself, after viewing this presentation? Just one minor element. Perhaps it is, I will commence that thankfulness note card tonight. Or possibly is, tomorrow I will take those 3 mindful breaths outdoors. Or maybe, I will simply sit in stillness for 5 minutes without any distraction. Please share your personal pledge in the comments below. It is a promise to yourself, and it demonstrates to others in our community that they are also taking that inaugural stride. Let's motivate one another. And if you derive genuine value from our time together today, if this provided you even a modicum of peace or inspiration, please demonstrate your support by liking this presentation. It genuinely assists in ensuring you persist on this journey with us and never miss another offering full of this manner of insight. Please press that subscribe button. It signifies more than merely subscribing. It signifies you are uniting with a community of kindred spirits, all devoted to living our most fulfilling, wisest lives collectively. And finally, consider one individual, just one, who might be seated in a quiet space today, experiencing what you may have once felt. Please share this message with them. You might be bestowing upon them the very gift they require most. Thank you for watching. Be gentle with yourself, and I will await you in our next video.